There are a lot of patch notes today in the Season 3 update, and we're going to go ahead and kind of breeze through the most important parts, kind of consolidate as much as we can. We got Trophy Hunt, which is basically you play any mode, you're going to get this currency, and then you can trade it in for blueprints, weapon skins, and then Battle Pass token tier skips, which is kind of another in-game system that just allows you to get extra progression. We got extra levels. The challenges if you didn't manage to unlock the Hemlock, the Broadside, or the Duels Kadachi. So we got the brand new FJX Imperium, which is going to be nice because we do get that one-shot sniping back, or at least that's what they've teased. We'll kind of read through and see how that's in there, but that's in there. And then we also have the Cronin Squall, which is a battle rifle, and we'll see how that works, if it's meta or not, or if it's easy to use, mag size, all those different variables. Weapon balancing, this is like they jump right into it right away. A lot of times they try to put it like 10 pages down, but Season 3's changes add more responsiveness to movement and fluidity of combat, including a reduction in the intensity of the damage feedback. That's camera shake and HUD overlays. We have also decreased the magnitude on some of the more punitive attachment cons. So basically, if you equip a mag, sometimes it slow you down a lot, now to slow you down a little. So it's a smaller difference between not having the mag and then putting on a larger mag. Including a change to explosive ammo, which allows bolt action snipers to down players in one shot. As we head into Season 3 Reloaded, we will be keeping a close eye on weapons attachment, so I guess we're going to get another one there, among other mechanics to ensure fair, fun, and strategically rich gameplay. Updates listed below that have certain impacts listed for armor are only present in Warzone 2 or are indicated with Warzone 2 only. And that's really the problem with the same engine type stuff is everything matches multiplayer, and the only way they can really change the damage values without ruining it in multiplayer if it works well is to change how it impacts against armor. So we got assault rifles, the ISO Hemlock, all damage range is reduced, and then lower torso damage reduced. So slight nerfs on both ends. More than likely, we'll see if that's still probably good. And then we got the M13B, headshot damage reduced, and then lower torso increased. So they kind of did a trade there. So it'll do more base damage, but lower headshot. And then mid-range damage increased, and then upper torso damage slightly reduced. So it nerfed the upper chest area. And then we got the STB, headshot damage increase, so that's a buff, leg damage increase, so a lot of damage increases here. So STB got a pretty big buffs all the way across. It says mid-range damage reduced, so that's like the not the furthest and not the closest, but in the middle one. So they increase the range, but then they lower the damage in the middle. So we'll see how that impacts it. That might be more of a multiplayer specific change because that gun was still pretty okay. TAC-56 got a buff, so maybe that makes it more of the meta because a lot of people were already using the TAC-56, obviously besides the Hemlock. So headshot damage increase, that's a buff for the TAC-56. Battle rifles, FTAC Recon, movement speed increase, which is good because a lot of battle rifles just moved too slow. And then semi-auto leg damage increased, semi-auto minimum armor damage increase, and obviously that's the Warzone thing. And then we got semi-auto upper torso damage increase. So that one's kind of like buffed all across the board for the FTAC Recon. It needs bigger mags, to be honest. Like 15 bullets just doesn't cut it. Lockman 762, movement speed increased. It's already pretty good. It's just hard to use, but it movement increase. SO14, movement increase. Semi-auto minimum armor damage increase. So it'll actually do a little bit more damage at the furthest range. TAC V, minimum armor damage increase. So that's going to do more damage at range. And then minimum movement speed increase, as well as semi-auto lower leg damage increased. So a little bit of buff there. You got Basilisk, minimum armor damage reduced. So we'll see if that actually makes a difference, because right now you could 2-tap within pretty close proximity, like 7 meters. But if you're barrel stuffing, pretty much you could 2-tap and you delete the player. Light machine guns, we got the RAL, headshot damage reduced, minimum armor damage added to semi-auto. I don't really know a lot of people that are using semi-auto, but it might be worth to toggle to semi-auto because the fire rate's so low that you could reach that. And if they're increasing the damage values, then maybe it's worth it. So it could be like a weird odd RAL meta, would be like almost like a slow DMR, but that's an LMG. It's an interesting change. RPK, close mid-range damage slightly reduced, so it got nerfed again for like the 7th time, and that might nerf it into the dirt because it was already kind of like started to stop being used like quite as much, and now that might be enough. But that's for close to mid-range. This doesn't talk about the farthest range, so you're just penalized harder if you decide to pull that out and take a gunfight close. Tempest Torrent, all damage ranges reduced slightly. Close to mid-range damage reduced. Headshot damage reduced, so it kind of got nerfed around. It wasn't anything special, like we covered it before we did a dedicated video. It killed quick if you got some headshots in the mix, but it was relatively hard to use. And you know, maybe now it's even harder. Submachine guns, hipfire spread accuracy has been increased, so you're going to get tighter spread, which would be cool if you could slide while shooting, but we'll see if it gets to there. ADS movement speed on the Bass P, all damage ranges increased, and then minimum armor damage added to semi-auto firing. Then we got the Lockman sub, headshot damage decrease, burst fire leg damage increased, burst fire time between shots decreased. Maybe that just makes the burst more viable, but the headshot will make it a little bit weaker. MX9 sprint to fire speed increased, headshot damage decreased for the Vaznev, and then the Bell 46 head damage decreased. So they just made it so likely those will just generally kill slower at close range. We'll see if it matters. Basically, these were the meta weapons. This one, it got a sprint to fire speed increase, so that was a buff. So MX9 slight buff, but probably doesn't matter for Al Mazrah and Osaka Island. Then we got the snake shot, maximum armor damage added. So they're gonna clamp like how much damage you can do when somebody has plates, which will probably, like I said, change it so it requires an extra shot. Explosive, bolt action weapons equipped with explosive ammunition are now able to fully down armored players in one shot. It still doesn't say headshot, even though on the other one says a skill shot. So I don't know why they didn't specify that here. I guess we'll find out when it gets added. Explosive ammunition has also been added to the MCPR 300 so that you'll be able to get that. So it'll just be an extra level, so you won't have it unlocked automatically, even though if you have a ton of time. You have to play probably one match or something, and then you'll get enough XP to progress the tree to get the last attachment. Hemlock, blackout rounds, all types, headshot damage increased, hip spread accuracy while prone increase, initial blackout rounds are basically done. Barrel stock magazine attachment stats are affected according to how large, small, heavy, light, long, or short they are relative to the other attachments. In essence, below changes increase the upside of most attachment stats while decreasing their downsides, resulting in overall increase to the attachment power level. Heavy barrels, ADS-B penalty reduced, so that's a good thing. Muzzle velocity penalty reduced with the light barrels. Short barrels, ADS penalty benefit increased. Damage range penalty reduced. Hip fire. Okay, so a lot of good stuff there. Then bipod, ADS speed penalty reduced. Laser brightness increased. Okay, cool. So now it's a bigger penalty to use the one lasers or the two lasers that will allow you to see the laser. Large magazines on LMGs. Handling and movement penalties reduced. Cast off 545. 60 round magazine. Handling penalty reduced. Yeah, so it's kind of what I mentioned earlier. Handling penalty reduced 762. The Lockman, the 50, there it is. M13, there it is. M16 is for the 60 mag. Vazda for the 45. Bell for the 50 and the 60 receive those reduced penalties. Small magazines, movement speed increased, and then sprint to fire speed increased. So even the smaller versions of the Lockman sub, like in 40, got those various improvements. We got the Fennec double tap mod, damage increased, damage ranges reduced, minimum armor damage added, and then time between bursts reduced. So that one's all like a mixed buff and nerf, but because the mag is so small, that's more of a multiplayer thing. STB single tap mod, damage increased, mid-range damage distances increased, minimum armor damage added, time between shots increased. Rear grip Basilisk, Kimbo Basilisk, maximum armor damage added. So that's the clamping, make the Kimbo worse. And then we got stocks, heavy stocks, ADS penalties reduced. So they're just speeding up the game by modifying all the attachments, which should also make it so that multiplayer and Warzone are faster. But how much faster, we'll have to see. In general, blueprints pro tuning no longer removed from all attachments when altering a pro tuned blueprint. Bomb squad explosive damage mitigation now also applies to armor. And then damage feedback, visual feedback adjusted to increase visibility when taking damage. That's so your screen doesn't go completely red so you can't see. Death effects are now visible when killing AI. Diving fire delay reduced. Okay, so by how much, right? We'll have to see. Sliding speed slightly increased. So it doesn't say anything about shooting while that. So maybe they sneak that one in, but that's a little disappointing that they didn't really go as far as they sounded like they were going to go. But maybe there's some other stuff that we'll see when we play. So adjustments for field upgrades. Added thermal vision to the tactical camera for night map modes. Equipment. Gas grenade should no longer detonate enemy explosives. Claymore, Warzone 2. Armor damage reduced. Flash, so you're less likely to die by a claymore. Flash grenade, flash effect during duration reduced. So it's good they're finally bringing that from Warzone 1. Frag grenade, Warzone 2 only. One hit kill radius against fully armored players reduced. So basically you have to hit them. Proximity mines, Warzone only. Armor damage reduced and armor damage reduced against crouched or prone players. This should have been completely removed for prone players. Crouch, okay, makes sense. But prone, should remove that entirely. Semtex now kills downed players when stuck. Kill streaks. Players watching a kill cam after getting hit by a cruise missile will no longer be looking downwards when they respawn. Reduce the range of screen shakes for precision airstrike explosion. Juggernaut should now be able to see the tablet screen when planting or defusing a bomb. That's more for multiplayer. Bomb drone can no longer down fully armored players, and armor damage reduced for cluster mines. So less annoying, but still annoying for those things. Audio added a new cinematic music slider in the front end, which allows players to control UI music. That is good. That's the one where you're just sitting in the lobby. Okay, various refinements to footsteps and occlusion mixes. Hopefully that actually does something. I'm sure we'll have a few of the audio people out there test that stuff. Social, we got that group request manager and then recruit a friend. Know someone, yeah, that's all good. UI UX, player names now appear in the squad list of a private battle royale match. Added the ability to preview tracers and death effects that come with weapon blueprints. That's kind of cool, so you can actually see what you're buying if you buy. New front end and pre-game lobby scene. There's different map updates for Osaka Island. It says cargo ship and several submarines are now present outside of the port, which, you know, is just gonna be the edge of the map. And then for gameplay, tempered plate carrier is going to be available everywhere. Upgrades the plates, armor carrier to improve the plate efficiency. So that's just like tempered from Warzone 1, which allows you to put 2 plates in and that'll make you full instead of having 3 segments. Bomb drone balancing, which we saw. No hit there. And then heavy choppers are re-enabled. I think they kind of had to because there's skins for these. Standard, I don't know if standard means solos, but duos, trios, quads, and then added new heavy chopper gas cans unique to this vehicle that are required for initial takeoff. So you can't even get, like, just land on it. You're going to have to go get gas first. Spawn location of the gas cans will differ between the different Battle Royale and DMZ. Gas mask. The gas mask has been given slight buffer when the player delays it being put on and taken off. This should help catch situations where further delay is desired immediately after it was dropped. Interrogation decreased the time it takes to perform an interrogation to 3 seconds, so they shaved off 2 seconds, and then added a grace period if the down player is immediately eliminated after a successful interrogation. This guarantees that the enemy squad will be pinged at least once, up to 3 times during the grace period. Reminder, keeping the interrogated player alive will further extend the effect, so don't kill them right away. Make sure you get 3 pings, then you can kill them, or I guess you can do it again. Quality of life, mantle assist improvements. Improve the system that will allow players to mantle over or through objects such as windows, and we'll see how that feels. Advanced UAV now works at better showing AI players and players differently. Killstreak banner positioning moved up, which is something they did in Warzone 1. We got Al Mazrah, standard duos, trios, and quads. There's actually no solos. Ooh, some people are gonna be mad. Oh, why are they doing this? That's crazy. And then we got massive resurgence with trios and quads, and that's 150 resurgence on Al Mazrah. Osaka Island, we got resurgence solos, duos, and quads. So at least they kept the solos there. And then we got modes for Amazra. We got the Massive Resurgence. We got World Series of Warzone, which will be interesting. There's no fire sales, jailbreaks, restocks, or the Champion Quest. No assimilation, no heavy choppers, no turreted vehicles. So we'll see if there's other things that come along the line for ranked, because that will lead into it. And then we got private matches for Osaka Island. Hopefully at someday they bring that down to like 10 people or something like that. It's just way too many people you got to put together for a private match. Private match spectating for those. And then we got after action report. Bird's Eye perk is back, but it's heavily nerfed. Now activates when a player uses a UAV kill streak. So your own. And then the enemy UAV no longer triggers Bird's Eye. So it's only for your own. And then UAVs activated by the player using Bird's Eye will provide the heading. So that's like the advanced UAV portion. And then UAV pings activated by the player using Bird's Eye are slightly larger. So it'll probably be like more like the black site when you get that versus the stronghold UAV ping. Maps, Amazra, we got the black site. There's a new Gulag. This is roughly a rectangular asymmetrical map. So we'll see how that one plays. And that's also a multiplayer map that we'll be able to walk around and check out as well. Gameplay, new gameplay features, UAV towers, which are copied over. They last for 20 seconds, cost 2,000. And there you go. They light up on the map when people use them. So you know where people are. And then they get a little nice little ping. And I think this is kind of like a shortcut to kind of see if, hey, how many, do we really need to add more UAVs to the game? I think you still need to. But then you'll get people comment like, oh, well, there's too much UAV spam. It's like, well, what are you hiding from? Like, you can get UAVs too. I don't know. You only sit on $70,000 every time we spectate. The last group always has too much cash. And then we got redeployed drones, which is cool. New strong side objective. An additional black site has been added to Al Mazrah near Rohan Oil. So it's top left of the map. And then Champion Quest, new blueprint was added. And that's the nuke contract, gas circle pacing improvement, decrease the time between. This is a huge one. I think this will be like one of the biggest changes that you won't notice until you do. This will increase overall pacing across the match. Mirror the pacing changed to Caldera last year. We evaluated the delay between when the circle stops and starts for the next movement. By making an adjustment here, we expect to see more dynamic. So it's going to be like what we saw towards the end of Caldera there, which was like 25-minute matches instead of 30. Gameplay adjustments, all map. So they made changes to most wanted contracts, stronghold rewards, reduce the number of white stronghold supply boxes to spawn to 1 instead of 2, so less cash, increase loot found in white stronghold so just general loot up, but less white boxes because those had too much. Intel contract, the number of spawn locations for the upload point has been increased. The upload point will now drop loot upon completion. I think they just streamlined that. The following items will now be available at every buy station with unlimited stock. So gas mask, portable radars, made some tweaks to item pricing as well. Armor plates, gas mask, durable gas mask. Okay, C4, frag grenade, smoke grenade, snapshot grenade, revive pistol, cluster mine, precision airstrike, counter UAV. So it's not saying that all of these will, only these 2 items will be at every buy station. So every buy station now has a gas mask and a portable radar, which I guess they want you to try that instead of getting 100 UAVs. Revive pistol, cluster. So, and then when you get RNG, these are basically either reduced or increased depending on their things. So they basically went and changed everything. You just see what the buy stations are. Rebalance rewards for the different public events and side activities. Minimap ping anchoring is improved. Spawn protection timeout. Basically, you can't just float in the air and continue to receive spawn protection. Now it's going to time out of 10 seconds, so you better get to moving. Black site key visibility has been improved. For all squads, we'll now see that. Loadout drop visuals, adjusted the visual revenant loadout drop, so that's improved. Squad loadout, where you get your own, will be blue, and then the contested one, where it's shared between the world, are yellow. Gulag item HUDs, the players pick up during the Gulag round will be briefly indicated next to the crosshair before fading away. And then object elevation arrows, which is nice to have so you know if something's above or below you, or where it's going to be when you're landing. DMZ got a ton of stuff. We've already covered a lot of that. Workbench, the plate vest, those things. And I'm looking forward to seeing if this like stuff is cool, and they start to casually bring it over to the other modes. And that's a lot of content. I don't know how long this will end up being, but appreciate the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.